and now we're just gonna stay more on inverts. We a little bit talked about it, but now with a different context. So we add to it. So we talked about running man stick, running man sitting turtle, running man turtle, and now inverts. So basically a little bit more about inverts, because they're important and it's a little bit the risk of your health. So if you go invert from here, go, just without moving the head, go, it's really easy to get stuck here. Yeah. So usually inverts happen, you can tuck your head more. You can create an angle, and then if you create that much, then you actually can, lower the hips and then have a guard. And I don't recommend neutral. I usually recommend one this, because otherwise you end up in a double unders, and then you just create a new problem for yourself. I know you can grab underhooks and stuff, but this seems to be like a better option, and then you pummel and everything. So we have talked about this in some previous DVDs today. So and then first I would say learn to move your head as much as possible. Maybe there, go, and then just create that space, and then you're in guard. Being sideways also helps. So if you create more space, you can sit up and butterfly. Go sit up, elbow up, and you can go up. That's better. So, and also then if you're better, definitely train this with the lighter people first. Then they can't hurt you even non-intentionally. So then try to move your head as little as possible to create that your invert will be on your upper back, that you're not on your neck, because there's already too many stories of people that messed up their neck doing jiu-jitsu. So really take care of this, and definitely with lighter people. Yeah. So develop that ability, and definitely flexibility and everything else. So be accountable and don't weed yourself out. There's enough Dorman awards around in the world already. Okay. So move the head a little bit, and then yes, and now invert. Yes. So if I'm close, on weight, you can lower the hips. If I'm close, then they should be here. Yeah, invert, and then they should be in a position when they can lift the head. Yeah, that is not a neck. If the neck happens, this becomes already worrisome. And if I go more in that direction, they have to move their head away from that, so then they can go. So bad things usually happen when you freak out. You get stuck on a mat. The gi is under you or whatever, so you can't move, and this happens, and then it's really, really bad. So if somebody pressures you, then your head moves there, depends on the direction, or they move there, and then you can get out. And then it's about guard pulls, turtle, move around, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So again, it's super hard for me. I have to go around, and then we get again this circling things and centrifugal forces. Let's do it again. So also think about the Granbys, like it's just go Granby and the turtle. So you're here, invert, just Granby, pump, and just like, turtle sit-ups, whatever. So this is very, very useful. And again, you can do this more when the weight is on not that hip so much. So it's kind of, in a way you can do it, because if you push my shoulder, later you can free the hips, and this can happen. But also if somebody is your upper body, your hip is free, and you can move your upper body away, and then this happens. So usually certain setup has to be there. So definitely watch your neck. Think about landing after a invert, because you don't want to land in a double unders and stuff, and you're right away in trouble. Then think about different endings. So again, 3 to 5 moves in a row, whatever fits. You have to feel combination, and it's totally fine also to go, let's say, really nice movement drill. Go running man, invert, running man. Go yourself. Running man, invert, running man. Okay, so come on. So it's totally fine that you do that. That you, let's say, you tried, and you have to have a parachute. Like, what happens when things go wrong? Yeah. So if I'm here, they're inverting and trying, and then they right away those elbows, have to be later closed, and they go, I failed, I didn't know what to do, and you land here, and we continue. Okay, stick, and then everything else happens. So you should have those trenches. You should really train those trenches separately, that it makes sense to go there. If you don't feel safe there, you don't go there. So make them strong. And it seems like a certain, I don't know if you can challenge that theory, but it seems like when we talk about those trenches and stuff and sticks and transitions, it's seems to be, this is bad, yeah, this is good, this is bad, totally vertical, this is good, and this is bad. And bad means transition. Bad means you have to transition So those positions are transitions for you. So you can stay in the other positions, and those, what I said, totally flat, totally vertical, and totally flat again, are transitions for you, but they are for attacker positions that they want to keep you in. That also makes sense because they're pins and they're vertical, because most kimuras happen when you're just sideways, you can't move. Yeah, it's kind of those things, and it's easier to pick some escapes. It seems like that way. So it's still under construction, but it seems so. That's also I treat, so I know where to be. I don't want to be flat or vertical. So they try to catch me in those positions, and I try to avoid them. So we know what we're fighting for, and it's clear why I lose and why he wins, and then it's re-engineer. I usually call it like a backwards learning, but then somebody said actually, if you call it reverse engineering, then the people can relate to more. And backwards learning maybe sounds like you exclude people that they're not familiar. Probably it's the same thing, reverse engineering in some way. So inverse. So if we have a stick, there's a position to running man again, just running man. We have a running man to panda, and then everything happens from there. We have running man to turtle, and we have running man to invert. So then I think we didn't forget anything. And then we'll see. There's always a possibility to do new chapter. And then, so this is the movement that you have to know. And when you have like a jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and body shot, then you can box. Then you can mislead people, and then you can fight with all different opponents. So that's the whole point. And right now, I think we also, what we did with running man, we mostly discussed running man kind of away from opponent. That's I want to get people more comfortable, but also to running man towards me. Yes. So also this might happen, and we will talk about it, I guess, in soon, maybe even next. So what happens if this happens? But the answer already. One answer would be like they circle anyway to my back. Yeah, that's what everybody trains to do. So we're going to maybe try to explain why running man towards the opponent doesn't happen so often anymore. So stay tuned, and we keep explaining Jiu-Jitsu, and I hope challenging some ideas and make you question things. So now running man leftovers, leftover ideas. Anyway, a couple of things more. So running man towards me, Mr. Roland, yes. So I guess cradling and all those things are important. Also should be important in our sport. In wrestling, they're more important. Way more people train them. Also cradling. That's why I think if the leg is up and if I get the head, and I need the chin, the hook, and I need to connect. So that's why maybe I show differently later the other way. That the wrist fighting is there, and that's why the knees are in. So it's hard to go in, and I don't. He should not give me the access to the shin. So that's a grip wrist fighting, and he grabs my fingers. That's what you should do in our sport. You still can, and then I can't bully you, because if I could. One of the things I could do to you, I grab this or a lock, and then I can start to mess with that. I can cradle you. I'm not like an expert in cradle, but I guess you cradle and then you pin people, put them up or make them flat. So this is very, very important. And also running man towards, like you said, towards opponent. I guess it can happen, but nobody stays there for long. Let's say if I do a long step, let's say if we do some kind of long step, we do this. If they go running man. If they escape that shoulder already, I think there was Fabio Giurgel also explained that's the running man stuff. You escape that shoulder, and even if I have a gi, anything, but if you escape that shoulder, it's like I can't anymore flat you out. But if I get under that shoulder, then we access the different set. There's a hooking and there's a baby reaching things. But if you do running man, and most people right away either they go over your legs, they go behind, or they circle over your head. So kind of nobody stays in front running man if there's no access to this shoulder. And you can argue that which is important, tuck this or tuck this first. So it's also this tucks under and this goes in, and the more this goes, you can parallel shoulders, and then you have to keep this away from me. And then definitely cradling everything else. And then if I circle the head, then probably the idea would be become more stickish. So he tries to swing now and go invert. Swings the head in, and then yeah. So that's momentum is necessary. If you're really like a dead in the water, it's kind of sometimes hard to go. But let's say if I'm moving, so if he's here and if I move there, so his head goes here. He's gonna like a swing, and that kind of momentum also lifts the head. If I go, and then those kind of things. So the head movement is really important, and you can practice that also, like moving left, moving right. And the shoulder is actually very important to go away from me, running man. And the shoulder again, like front, if I'm in front, I want to get in here. And if I'm behind, I also want to kind of mess with that shoulder. And also, cradling here should be very hard. If the knee is up, yeah, so I get access, I can do this. If there's no access to, there's no stoppage here, those things are nasty. You definitely should practice them and you should be aware of them. So head here, the shoulder was up, shoulder parallel. So if I even get here, fingers, and this should be closed. So it's like, and you can grab my fingers here. And then it's super weird to actually pull people here. So, and this is like an early stage, I guess also, yeah. So if you get cradled with somebody physically fit, not a nice feeling actually. So cradle a little bit, I think comes back. I think probably Estima has shown something with a leg weave cradling and stuff. So Robert Drysdale. So it's definitely, we should talk about it more. It's very, very awesome technique. But let's talk about the shoulder more, because you will end up in a problems that people will pull this back, and then you, let's say sometimes, let's make a joke, and you just fall and then everything is open and then you complain jiu-jitsu is hard, yeah? So definitely if that happens, we land another position. I will teach you in some point that today. And also this shoulder is down. And first of all, if somebody goes away from you that far, like, I don't know, half a meter, and that's their defense to this, that they go in and then they pull. If you right away feel the pressure is off, you have to be gone already. Like, you're here because I keep you here. So if you feel I'm going away, then it's a stick, panda, turtle, you have to be gone. And also, if your angle is good, then if I just pull this, pull the shoulder down, and then this happens, then stick is actually a wonderful option. Just, I pull the emptiness, really. So if it happens in transition and stuff, it's kind of cooler. But yeah, if I start to pull, and if I pull a little bit here, then there could be pandas and stuff, So if I pull a little bit here, then the turtling also is there. Yeah, go back. Or also like stick is there. Stick kind of kills everything. And then invert, card pulls, who cares what happens. So you don't have to escape. And also, I do it again. And if I pull you back, then you have to land to hawking, yeah? So we go boom, and then land here. But you don't land on your back, arms open, or you don't land on your back and flip this open, and then I get, seat belts, and then you complain jiu-jitsu is hard. So that's not all, thank you. That's not okay, so to speak. So that's why usually I talk about running man, like always behind him, because nobody kind of stays in front of me. And I guess when we show later how this whole system works together, maybe we show some situations when in front, but if you've done jiu-jitsu, everybody's kind of fundamental jiu-jitsu is to circle the head, jump over the leg, go to the backside. So this happens and nobody kind of stays there. But this running man also, I think, very much is Sanjay Ribeiro inspired. I think if there was an article about somewhere that somebody said that new schoolers is more inverting and retaining the guard and everything else. Old schoolers are using more this kind of running manish position. I don't know what they call it themselves, but you see all the time like old schoolers, maybe they're stiff already, I don't know. But somebody getting hard pass, they're going here, gripping something, getting up, and then they're pulling guard, something like this. So they're going almost like a half turtle, half flat, belly down, and then they're recovering. So running man is a lot about inspired by that. Its evidence is all over the place. You can see how it works. And for guard retention, it's a very, very interesting tool. But at the moment, we're not talking about like a guard retention in a way. We're like, okay, side control and how it happens. And that's why we're more behind. In guard retention situations, it will be more like front situations. So anyway, let's take that into the consideration. So. Another transition we have to talk about sitting turtle to running man. Yes. So what happens in sitting turtle? The DVD is out. Yeah. So people pressure, and there's also, you deal with that, and they pull you also. They pull you back, and we dealt with that, and then this happens. And again, I can make that very good joke. Pull. You can't really go like you find this, and then you fall, and then you give them everything, and then you complain jiu-jitsu is hard, yeah? So, one of the things you can do that kind of fits to that section of the information we're given is you fall. It's kind of hard to always pull you back because they're never on my back always, never kind of. And I guide it to the circle orbit. So if they pull, it's already, I can twist and then I land the running man, yeah? So, and then also I guess if you have more reactions, if they pull more, then you can pump, then you can go here, you can go right away to the guard, you can stay in turtle. So I find that usually people don't start to pull right away. Usually they pressure because they don't understand what the sitting turtle is, and they think it's like very open, and they start to put hooks and stuff. But later it has to be a push-pull. So they start to push and they start to pull. But yeah, like they're never behind, so it's super weird to fall just like this. You really have to be tired and caught by surprise or something. Because if you little bit guide, it's already, you create an orbit. And then it's just about how much you can create that centrifugal force. So if they pull, you just spring and get a turtle, go to turtle, maybe just a guard right away, or a running man. So one more time. And definitely what you cannot do, even if you fall running man, because they're gonna pull, and they're gonna look for really fast seat belts, yeah? So try to pull, go, and seat belts, go, pump, and so this is super bad, yeah? So, and those are really, really like small mistakes. So if they pull it again, go. And then, I can land here, like hawking, I can go here, but right away I know what I have to do. So those are the transitions. And sometimes some transitions I can be more ready for. This sometimes comes as a shock. And you have to be more ready and have to be trained for that. And so you don't freak out, because usually if people like pull, your intention is to balance, and right away you kind of pull your elbows out. Usually like a wrestling, you want to get underhook, you snap the head, people just go boom, and then you have underhook. That's one of the setups wrestlers use. So definitely have to be trained that you fall and everything is tight, and also have to know that when they get a seatbelt, what then happens, So we don't gonna talk about this too much, but first it's like defending. And also if it happens, you be ready also to pummel, I think. And if they pull, go. And if they get this, I'm just maybe pummeling, getting this, getting in. If they stay on my hips, maybe I go back up right away. But yeah, running man should be there. So definitely train it. And if you do it to somebody else also, like if you see somebody is smaller, so be nice. But definitely it's a transition you should have to have. So that system what we're promoting gives you right away the good answer. So another one would be turtle to running man. I think we talked about running man to turtle, so you could also argue what's the difference, but actually I think it's a big difference. You have to, so you can go like 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, and you have to connect them every way you can. 1 to 3, 3 to 1. So it's not only 1 to 3, 3 to 4, no, backwards also. So that's one example of doing this. So let's say turtle. I'll speak more head up so you can hear it better. And then what's changed about from last DVD, I also play a little bit now sin feeds and stuff. So I still like myself toes on the mat, but with people having like a very bad flexibility from knees and stuff, I find they have an easier time keeping the hips down and stuff. So those things that we added, and we play and try to understand how turtle works. And there's a lot of other stuff that referee positions testing, and so turtle is still evolving. So if you like it, so keep following me and see, and let's see where the evidence leads us. Anyway, turtle. Side pulling is the hardest thing, and it only happens when my knees are close. So go. If I do this and then I pull, and then I fall. If I fix that, if my knees are wide, the side pulling is gone. So that angle, and only what angle is left is usually backwards, like across this 90 degrees of that bone, and then forward. So it becomes like a disc base. So going like, you know, like a physics, yeah, there's a, I guess there's a square, and it's super hard to tilt the square towards the angle, yeah, towards the corners. Usually you tilt the square towards the, you know, the angle here. So if that would be the shape, so I would fold like this more, and I would fold like this more. So that's the whole point. Anyway, so now if we already know that if they pull us back, so go, if they pull us back, then I land into panda. You will see actually Eduardo Tellez does this a lot. And also just to repeat that if you land like this, go pull, and then they get the seatbelt, and then you can't complain jiu-jitsu is hard. So it's actually super hard to get a seatbelt. Go, pull. It's like the only thing seatbelt to get other seatbelt. Go other seatbelt. Switch. So this, yeah, and this is maybe not so good for them, but it's a weird angle actually. But you can, you know, wrist fight. Another direction is, so this leads to panda, and if they pull towards my head more, it leads to invertish and also running manish things. So what I mean by that is, I'm here. Wait. So first of all, your turtle should withstand like pulls. So if your knees are not this, your knees are that, it should be super, super hard to pull. And also, I'm talking to this, my head is there. Actually, I'm looking for the most body weight. So if my head is actually there, it makes a big difference. So if they pull me sideways, I can counterbalance. Usually they pull me a little bit more there. Pull. So that, yes. And if I would want to invert, pull more, I would, you know, go here and I will invert and blah, blah, blah. But right now, let's fold to running man. So you pretend your turtle was, you know, taken down. They caught you in transitions where your knees were closer and not yet fully opened. And then those things might happen. So that's a realistic scenario. So if they pull, so you pull like this. It's actually one of the things, again, like if I do this, it looks super robotic, so to speak. Like you go here, and you just fall over like a sack of potatoes or something. But it's really, I don't know, necessary move that you messed up, and you just can't go like you pull up and then you do this and that it's hard. But you have to have always, that's why I'm not about the escape so much, that I have to know that you can push and pull, then you move yourself, and then you know you're safe, and those trenches around. So let's try and pull a little bit more, even harder, so go. So, and it is like a kind of coordination thing, because you have to fall, and then you have to look and balance your shoulders and stuff, so it's, because it is, if they get this momentum going, and that's already dangerous, yeah, then they have to balance that. So it's really like you fall. It's a fun move to do, takes a while to teach, but definitely this transition, like a running man to turtle and running man and going running man from turtle, it's very, very necessary transition to have. And also, like if they pull this, like I said, the inverts are there, so whenever they pull, it's, you have an answer, yeah? You can fall back, you can fall forward, inverts, and also if they bully me down. So if somebody bull rushes, I guess, me from the turtle this way, little bit like grabbing the legs or trying to do some wrestling attack or something similar like this, so do that. So I'm here, which side? Okay, so they push me, yeah, so I can't, I guess there's a guard pulling option here and stuff, you know, I'm not talking about that at the moment, but what you cannot do, go then. So you cannot go like, you know, here, and then again, you know, jiu-jitsu is hard and blah, blah, blah. Because if you want to stay belly down, so that's the point, you want to be there, maybe just go to stand up. I usually recommend that's the best option to do. Just teach everybody to stand up from everywhere, super annoying. And I hope I explain also context to that, why I say that. But my goal would be like belly down, so that means I land, if they do this, I land on running man, I build my base back up. Also, you know, bull rushing thing, usually they can't bull rush and keep, you know, same time kind of blocking maybe the hips too well. So there is an opportunity to do, after bull rush, to pull guard really fast, but I'm not about that at the moment. So if they bull rush me, you fall towards, you fall running, so do it. So they go here, and you fall running man, and then depends what they do. If the weight is more on the hip, the weight is off. I can go base up, and so you have to see what happens next. But also, I guess you can move like a, let's say, bull rush or a turtle do guard, but that's already too many transitions maybe. So you can move turtle, running man, and then do guard. So building those trenches more often, I think for beginners, it gives them more chances to rest, so to speak, and to feel safe. And the more experience you get, you start to do less trenches. So maybe you move like a couple of trenches at one time and then you stop. And eventually you try to move 10 times, 10 trenches, everything is flow, and then you stop in one point. And that's what you also see when you watch matches. The evidence is there, certain scrambling is happening, blah, 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 and then they stop, you know? And then it's a submission or some defensive things, but usually there's a limit of how long you can scramble. In wrestling, they train actually scramblings, and if you watch flow wrestling, and they have crazy long scramble sequences actually in the matches. But in jiu-jitsu, if you watch evidences, they land, but they don't last usually that long. But so that would be like, if you're advanced, then use less trenches. Of course, it's better. Be always moving target, but you can't teach beginners like this all the time. So that's why it's built. So they will feel safe and very static, very easy to follow. I would say simple, but not easy. Let's call it that way. This system sounds or looks even simple, but it's not easy. You still have to do it, and pressure and everything, and timing where the weight is, and that's why it's more complicated later. But it's, I would say, like, let's say, simple to understand or something like this. So you can follow it better, understand why it works. So. And now some things that also happen in Running Man, and you should be considerate of, and they kind of show that something is missing. It has to be precise, yeah? If you do it less optimal Running Man, you have more trouble. So that's the point. Anyway, so let's talk about mount. I guess if you think you're Running Man, if you do this, go mount, S mount. So that's bad, yeah? So now they can go S mount. They can go knee behind you and, underhooks and stuff, and clearly this is not the place you want to be, go back. So, if you're here, I'm talking to the camera also. Usually I'm watching where's the most body weight, then my head goes there. Go, mount. And, I don't mind if he's on my elbow, forearm, because now, depends on the weight again, what he does, but then, usually those things happen. And now, if you know what you're doing, you can reach. But reaching, toes and stuff, reaching comes with responsibility, because they can have kimuras, go for something attack and stuff. They go right away, and you expose yourself to unnecessary threat. So at first, go back. So think about always like what the simplest answer is first. Go. Running Man, they go this. And and then you can fall back. I little bit bumped him a little bit with this, so it's always like, in boxing you do, that's okay, that's always there. He can, your arm is not covered big enough to go like from your hip to the face, so usually this is normal, every sport does that. So, that I would say, if you try the answer, then do it with the minimal, and then if you pull this off, this becomes super boring, and then you add stuff. But everything you add as a attacking option comes with responsibility, knowing what comes with that attack. So if you learn jab, you have to know that counter is an overhook, uppers and stuff, the slips. So then you know what to expect, and then you just make it work. You just can't throw people like later, like jabs, and then you don't know what the counter is. You put yourself in unnecessary danger. So definitely here I feel that when I teach, usually everybody's taught to do everything. And I have super hard time actually in seminars and to teaching people do less. It takes usually quite a while to teach them do less. Find out the minimum you can get by, and then add everything back. Then put all the YouTube to work, because you have something to fall on. If you mess up, you have that. But if you only have that reaching thing, and if you're in trouble, you don't have a parachute, you don't have place to fall. So one more time. So every attack is good after that. I don't care. So go. And then also, I guess in some way, if the weight is more back, yeah, I cannot go there because they will adapt later. So now, those things happen. And I know there's a keys and stuff, and then you have to protect, then you clear those, and then pandas. So it's a feeling process later. Go back to it again. So, and then just turtle, yeah? and then you're here, and then they circle, and they still hunt you. So it's really really important that do less. Just don't escape, like I always mentioned in this DVD a lot. Just go to turtle and live another day, and then escape later. If you're better, take something, but then know what to do. So that's, I think it's very important idea that I have hard time getting through people that everybody wants to escape right away, and there's no, you can't. It's like you can't attack people from open guard every time when you want. You have to play guard, you know, set it up, shoot, miss, and set it up, shoot, miss, and finally pull it off. Yeah, you play same way guard against the good people. So escape's the same way. So I think it's important to what we treat escaping world the same as a guard passing world and a guard world. So what other thing is happens, they might attack your chokes, because this system works, if I say identically, I kind of mean that, but maybe it's too much to say, but because you know, I can do it and I don't feel any difference when I do it. Like it just sometimes you don't understand certain things in no-gi, why you do it. That you have to do it that well, and when you put the gi on, then it's like, oh, that's why I do it. So I find I don't have that debate with gi and no-gi, and which is better, and you know, I think that's stupid is much to say, but it's kind of stupid, yeah. So they're both good in their own ways, and I think for everyday people they help. Yeah, but definitely this, your gi cannot, your jiu-jitsu cannot fall apart when you put the gi on. I think that is silly. So anyway. So if they go for chokes, yeah, clearly that's a problem, and then you have underhooks, yeah, go for a choke, and then they put the leg to work and blah blah blah, yeah. So it's everything can happen there. So if you have a good position, so if you have the shoulder thing here, go for a choke. It's super weird. And if they want to feed, go feed. But the important part is they feed. Yes, that if they feed, that's also can work, because this was dead. But the important part is I don't give the underhook, because then they control both sides of the movement. Go underhook. Then I can't move this way because I choke myself, and I cannot move this way because underhook. But now the fun part is if they only have this, I know they want to have a knee also, but there's no choke here because I go to stick right away. So if I'm going to turn, so I look here, that's also the, if I go here, I choke myself, let's say, and if I go to stick, and then I can roll the choke out. So that's why always the default head position is always there, because you look into choke and right away it's not. If I say if I turn away and I choke myself, it's kind of true, kind of not, because there is ways, like sit down, there is ways to go, go through chokes. It depends on the angle. You know, if somebody has a choke, of course you teach this to people to look into choke first. But then if the angle is here, in some cases you can turn into chokes actually, and the choke comes off. So when I say I choke myself, that's the context. I usually, there has to be an angle to the other way. Yes, if the angle is wrong, I will choke myself. So do again. So, and if they really want to feed, go feed. You can mess with this. Now, see, go back. And so if everything is good, go. They're actually super weird to go here. And I really grab this and I fight. And that's a wrist fight, really active, has to be. So if you do anything less, then you're in trouble. And it gives you time to go to turtle and everything else. And it's, go. If they do this, I'm speaking to camera now. If I do this, go, see? And they can't hold me. It's their base is off. And what they do also to actually put force here, they have to put weight where they are right now, yeah? Because now they're forcing this. And this is, you know, those are your opportunities to go also, because it's not like open, so they can keep their weight on the hips or the feet and then they go. So if the position is strong, those things are still a problem, but not as big as they could, because you know you have a good position, and then in that sense you're saved. So mount is not there, kind of can't happen during the positions, yes, but now. And then our underhook fight, let's say, but also is there is if they get underhooks, go, and this is bad, yeah, probably arm bars, kimuras, blah blah blah, yeah. So this has to be there. With the gi, it's actually super hard to go through, go. And if they go through, then this has to help. Then I pummel, yeah, and also I can use movement to stay away. So if I feel, slowly go, if I feel they're getting in, I can switch to another trench before this arm gets in. So stop. If the pressure is there, if I go to stick, this angle moves away from there. And I go to other position and then I fight from there. So you have the ability later to stay in position, fight, and also transition to other position when the fight is lost. And then you retreat a little bit, trench, stay there. But it should go, unhook. Go. And then usually they want this arm, go. No, the arm, get the arm. Get the arm. They want this maybe, they want cross arm, that's good, go back. So, let's fight. So that's the fight. And definitely you have to feel the weight. Where's the weight? Can I sit up? Can I turtle? So those fights you will have. If you have a good position, they're easier to handle. But don't fool yourself also that you can stay there forever. You have to know what they're built for. And also, those positions are killed. Now, they're killed when you have more space to generate power. So it's actually super hard if I'm, somebody is running man and I'm here and I have to get like arm through. You don't have strength here. Your strength gets usually here. You have easier time to push. Yeah, because if arm is so close, it's kind of hard to push. It's like bench press. If you're here, it's kind of like but if you're here, easier to stretch. So if somebody is very close, so that's the motivation to keep you here. And then they're going here. You have to actually have super hard time. And if anybody takes the weight off and goes like here and then goes through, that means that space that they give you already is enough for escape. Yeah, so you can't really let's say, I always say that very good joke that if somebody does this and says to you, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and if you still get punched in the face, I can't help you really. That you really have to understand if they do this and say that you have time to escape, and do stuff. Same with we did like running man. We did with the pulls. It's very easy to challenge running man. Usually people ask me those things also. What about this and that? And Preet, I'm here and I just pull and now he falls over. I was like, but what about that space? That's not realistic. So if somebody's here, it's actually super hard to pull from here. I can't even if I do it like a little bit, it's a good position. But if this position is pullable, when I go like, and then maybe, yeah? But that's already like a space to invert and do everything else. Yes, so, nice. So I mean, you have to understand the structure is strong. I don't know, when they're close and everything is good, but if they get distance, yes, they become stronger, but then they give you the space you need for escape. So, that's problem solved. And if you don't escape that time, it's like you don't punch people when they do this. And when they put arm back, you miss your shot. Then you just learn to better time it. And that's a timing issue and then it's okay. So recognize that. Don't be blinded like I'm just running man. You don't feel that they're actually not pressuring you anymore. So those things. I find people have trouble with. They're getting too stuck into the system that they just be there. Same thing always, like just random thing happened in a turtle and just people go behind and go here and lift, but nobody's keeping pressure. So my job is to keep you here, yeah? And also other thing would be like give you reference, go side control, bottom, turn toward me. You're in side control because I keep you here, yeah? You cannot go away, but in a way. If I'm in a hip, you can also stop, but if I go already like here, you're probably gonna sit up because nobody's gonna hold you there, yeah? So you want that. So then think about that. If they give you space, you're gone. That's my job to keep you there. So that also puts perspective of your bottom game so you don't stay there too long. So yeah, keep practicing, I guess.